Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's stream. It's Wake Up with X one time. It is good to be back. For those of you that are new here, this is your daily morning gaming news and Xbox stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for joining me. We've got live in chat Blicky Blanks. We've got we've got Prophet Bear, sorry. Sup, I'm a newbie, says Prophet Bear. Well, welcome. Good morning. We've got some good news stories to go over today. We've got Microsoft rumored to be testing integration with the Steam with the Microsoft Store, rather. I think that's a big news story. We've got a poll that I want to review that we went over here about how do you feel about Xbox being the number one publisher, top-selling games over on PlayStation. So we took the pulse of the community there. And then last but not least, we're going to review some of the recent OpenCritic scores. Clubrill over on Twitter put together a graphic that I think was interesting that we'll review. But before we jump into it, guys, please make sure you hit the like button. Thank you very much for being here. If you are listening via Spotify, this is the new podcast. The videos go up at 7 a.m. Normal videos on the YouTube channel drop at the same time. But now we've got a live stream Monday through Friday right here. Let me shout out some more players in chat who are here. MF Gaming is here. What's up, MF Gaming? Jason is in the house. Mr. Chief Wiggum, Scott Van Teberen is here. Good morning, good sir. Good morning. Shooter McGavin is in the house. Big Money. What's up? Good morning, Xbox Army. What's up, Xbots? Thank you very much for joining me. Shine is here as well. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you all. You want to know what movie that I watched starting out today that I gave a really hard time based on the trailers because I thought the trailers were terrible, but then the movie ended up not being terrible at all. In fact, it was kind of fun. It wasn't the greatest movie ever, and that's Minecraft, the Minecraft movie. I think that trailer looked retarded. I think that trailer made it look like probably top 10 dumbest movies of all time. And then I watched it with the kids. It's now available on streaming. And it's fun. It's just fun. It's not the greatest movie ever made, but it's not bad. It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just fun. It's fun it actually made me want to jump into the Minecraft realm. I've got a huge Minecraft realm that the X1 Bros community built, and it made me want to get back into Minecraft. So, Jason said, if I had kids, maybe. I think that is the main kicker right there. If you have kids, that's exactly correct. I think that it makes it more worth it to get it. But even without kids, it is just fun if you enjoy Minecraft. They did a pretty good job of nailing the feel of Minecraft. It's not. I thought it would be just based on the trailers. The trailers made it look, I don't know. It just was off-putting to me, right? Anybody else feeling that way? But then I watched it and it was like, oh, that's not bad. There you go. Don't judge a book by its cover. I judge books by their cover all the time. In fact, I will pick up a book if you've got badass artwork on the front of your book. And it's like, oh yes. I need that in my life right now. And then it could be the worst story ever. I did that here with the trailer. Jason said, glad you were able to enjoy it with your family. Thank you very much, good sir. I appreciate it. All right, let's jump into the first news story that we're going to review today, and this comes courtesy of, in fact, let me move this up. There we go. This comes courtesy of WCCFtech.com. Microsoft rumored to be testing Steam integration within the Microsoft Store, potentially for next-gen Xbox as well. Now, this is just a rumor, so take it with a grain of salt. However, where there is smoke, there is fire, and we've been hearing this more and more. We saw from the Xbox the Xbox official site, the Xbox official artwork, that Steam was one of the options to filter your Steam games by on the Xbox dashboard. So while this is a rumor, I am sure this is exactly what's happening, and it makes sense. And this, to me, by the way, is proof that the console wars are foolishness, that the console wars are completely contrived. Why do you say that? They are not contrived. I think they're disingenuous. And here's why. Is anybody that plays their games on Steam complaining that Steam is going to Xbox? Anyone? No, they're not. It's not a thing. It's not a talking point. Meanwhile, if Xbox were to take its Game Pass platform and put it on PlayStation. That's it. They're third party. They're leaving the console space. No. Steam is not leaving the console space either. Steam creates the Steam Deck. Steam is creating a second one. Steam wants to be in the handheld space. And rumor is that they may be looking at creating their own console, partnering with laptops, et cetera, et cetera. They're creating their own operating system for sure. So I think it's just proof that it's interesting how it flows one way, right? It flows between the consoles. Nintendo is kind of off doing its own thing. But PC gaming doesn't really count. Nobody is outraged when Steam comes to Xbox. Meanwhile, or Steam is rumored to be coming to Xbox. Meanwhile, if Xbox were to do something similar to PlayStation, well, or I don't know, do something like bring timed exclusives via their Game Pass app over to PlayStation, everybody would be up in arms. So I think that the console wars are very disingenuous that way. But let's jump into the news story here. And before we do, though, we do have a super chat from Chief Wiggum. Scott Van Teberen sent 5 X1 the Gamer gift memberships. Shine received one. Ouya received one. Blicky received ones. Surrogate received one. And so did Jason Redman. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you very much, Scott. Everybody in chat, let's drop a sexy X for the one and only Chief. Right there, you now have access to these exclusive emotes. So, huge shout out. Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love and the support. If you guys want to support the show, hit that join button down below. Become a member. You get that loyalty badge right there. You get access to emotes for our live chat, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let's jump into this news story at WCCF.com. According to insider Xdoes1, Ecstasis. I don't know why I know this every time, and I always screw it up. Xdoes1. No, it's Ecstasis. According to Insider Ecstasis, Microsoft has internally begun testing Steam integration within the Microsoft Store environment, intending to bring that to the next generation Xbox console eventually. Here's the relevant quote from the latest YouTube podcast. Xbox plus Steam are heading into the next generation, but steps are already being taken as Microsoft has just added the Steam application to the support software for its devices, appearing under the name of Steam Development Beta. This is, of course, currently only available to certain employees and people who collaborate with Microsoft to provide support or develop certain things. This is more than just the detail, because it logically reflects Microsoft's intention to facilitate coexistence and cooperation between its Xbox ecosystem and the gigantic PC platform that is Steam today. This integration will allow users to run Steam more smoothly and directly from Windows environments and, in the future, Xbox environments. Again, this is that integration that we're talking about, that cross-platform play between the Xbox, the PC, the Xbox handheld that is inevitable to come, and, of course, Windows being kind of centerpiece to all of that, or the Windows operating system. So it's going to be interesting, again, when the official licensed Xbox handheld, the thing I'm most curious about, because it's an ROG Ally. That's what we're getting later this year. But I'm very curious about what that first step towards this unified UI looks like. I think that's going to be the most interesting, what that handheld UI looks like. And then how it operates, how it works seamlessly with the Xbox app, et cetera, et cetera. Everything is going to be developed around PC environments. Those logically need Steam integration, and you'll have that in your Microsoft Store when you turn on your next generation Xbox console. This will allow you to have Steam on your Xbox console and on any Windows device without the need for complex configurations, which is a key step for the experience of the future console. Agreed, 100%. So sometimes the knock on PC gaming, and I love PC gaming, for PC Master Races out there, I'm not knocking it, but the critique of why get a console over a PC, and it's because it's plug and play. On a PC, that's not necessarily the case always. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. The ROG Ally is a good example. You've got to go in and tweak the settings in your games before you can play to get the optimal settings for each game individually. A console removes that ability, and I think Xbox allowing Steam on your Xbox console without having to mess with those configurations is huge, and that's what's needed. I'd be curious, what do you guys think? Would you utilize your Steam library The thing is, some of my Steam library is very centric to keyboard and mouse, and I don't have a portable keyboard and mouse in that, like, I don't have a couch keyboard and mouse set up. I've got a controller set up. So any controller game looks would be plug and play. If you're not a controller centric game, it wouldn't be plug and play on my console. Overall, I do think it's a good thing. I think you're going to have the doubters. Why are we moving this way? But yeah, I don't. What's the downfall here? What's the downside in knocking down these walled gardens? I don't know really. Xstasis is not the first insider to talk about this eventuality, continues WCCF Tech. Windows Central's Jez Corden predicted the same a while ago, although in this case, Xstasis claims to have sources indicating that testing for the Steam integration has already begun. As a reminder, the latest rumors suggest that the next generation console strategy includes a successor to the Xbox Series X paired with a handheld device. Both could be released in 2027, with Microsoft attempting to launch ahead of Sony PlayStation 6 after skipping the mid-generation console refresh that Sony released with the PS5 Pro. I do think that was the correct choice. I think when you look at where this generation is with consoles, there was no need for a mid-generation refresh. Indeed, the knock right now on the PlayStation 5 Pro is, hey, where's all our major first-party titles that have dropped? Most of the biggest games, again, the top 3 of the top 10 biggest games on PlayStation right now are Xbox first-party exclusives. So the PS5 Pro, I don't think was needed. It's great if that's what you want. I think Xbox was correct to not do that this time. This generation feels like an in-between generation. It just does. So I'm personally very excited for the next generation. I'm personally very excited to get that full leap that I don't feel like, and I think most gamers don't feel like we got this generation. It feels like a very in-between generation. Now, you can say that's crazy because when you look at it, we did get a pretty big leap, especially when it comes to speed and loading speed. So it's not like there was no jump, but it just doesn't feel, for whatever reason, like a fully fleshed out standalone generation like the 360 did, for instance. Even the Xbox One. Say what you want about the Xbox One, it did feel like a standalone generation where we did make some leaps and strides there. To chat real quick, Jason says, looking forward to the handheld with a console. I hope it's pretty much a PC where I can play Age of Empires with mouse and keyboard. Dude, yeah, I'm going to be interested how mouse and keyboard play into the next generation of console. What type of options do we get there? And how is there like a couch, or do we get more options for like couch mouse and keyboards? Because they're pretty limited at the moment. There's some good ones out there, but they're really pretty limited at the moment. Does Xbox create their own? Do they partner and have officially Xbox licensed mouse and keyboards? Because if Steam is coming, if you can play your PC games over on your Xbox, a mouse and keyboard is going to be needed for some games. It's just better. I'll give you an example of a game that's better with mouse and keyboard: Crusader Kings. Crusader Kings is on Game Pass. Crusader Kings 3 is amazing. It's one of my favorite all-time strategy games. If you've not played it, definitely go check it out. But it's just better on mouse and keyboard. There's a lot of menu systems there. You can zoom in, zoom out, click. Even Civilization. There you go. Civilization is another one that does a fantastic job porting to controller. Some of the best jobs you can do. It's still better with a mouse and keyboard. Slightly. Reactor Leak says, Steam Deck is portable. It runs on Windows. Xbox is built with versions of Windows going forward. It just seems like it'll happen eventually with a partnership unless they just buy them. Agreed, 100% agreed that's Steam coming to Xbox. Augustin says, good morning from Los Angeles. Oh, Los Angeles, the city of angels. Welcome, Augustin. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Starfield guy says, couldn't care less about a handheld unless it's reasonably priced, but we all know it won't be. Sooner put $700 towards a new OLED TV. You could definitely do that. I don't know that the handheld will be $700. I think that's this big question mark. I've been saying for a while that I think the Xbox handheld needs to come in and match that Nintendo Switch price or be around that Nintendo Switch price. So let's say $50 either way. But that Nintendo Switch 2 price is $499. I think that's the sweet spot for a handheld. And I think the handheld will be the cheaper entry point to the next generation of consoles. And then they'll have their ballsy standalone console that, that is $700, $800. Who knows what that price is going to be? And what does it do, by the way? That's Sarah Bond says that the next generation is going to be the biggest leap between generations that we've ever seen. So what does that look like? Obviously, if we're talking feature set, If Steam is included and you're able to sideload Steam games or just download Steam games onto your Xbox console, I mean, that's a giant leap. So is that what they're talking about? It's going to be interesting to see. But personally, I'm not sure that the handheld will be all that expensive. Like, I don't think it'll be $700. I think they've got to come in right around that $499 price point like the Nintendo Switch 2. Don't know if they can do it. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. They may not. They may blow it out of the water with price, but that's it. I have many visual novels and turn-based games on my Steam library. I would love to play them, says Raichi, on my TV. Amen. I think that there's quite a few games like that as well. You know what would be an awesome game to play on your TV? Sins of a Solar Empire. Have you ever played it? You could play that thing on a potato, and it's a fantastic game. Sins of a Solar Empire. Everyone, go look it up. But then how about games like Trucking Simulator with your full setup but on your TV? That'd be so nice. Or Elite Dangerous with the full packs there, because Elite Dangerous, I think it's still on consoles, but it's no longer being actively supported in the same way that it is supported on PC. Those type of games would do really well, I think. Just my personal opinion. Username Redacted said, I think Microsoft goes semi-third party over the next 10 years. Cloud gaming is the next big frontier. Xbox will probably focus on generating the best UI and ecosystem so people choose to play there. I agree. I think if you've played, for those of you that are like, oh, I've played Xbox Cloud gaming is not even close. It just sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's not quite there yet. I encourage you, try GeForce Now. I am telling you, it will blow your mind. There is no lag. It plays high-end games at a high-end level. Streams right to, I have a MacBook Pro. That's what we're streaming on right now. And the MacBook Pro is not known for gaming. In fact, you can't game on it at all. And you can with GeForce Now. So I don't really see a downside, says Blinky. Yeah, I agree. I don't see a downside either. And think if you buy a game, the upside to Xbox, and Microsoft is Xbox becomes this platform in the same way that like the iOS store, the App Store is a platform, or the Google Store is a platform. So if you buy a game via Steam, Xbox is going to get a cut of that. So how big can you grow your Xbox library? Now, maybe not. Do you think that they charge platform on the Xbox? They definitely charge platform fees. So, yeah. Oh, that's a dumb question. I don't even know why I had that. Reactor League says the PS5 Pro didn't seem like anything more than a very small update and name refresh to cash grab, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the critiques that a lot of people are saying about the PS5 Pro. I'm glad Xbox did not go with the PS5 Pro, for sure. Raichi says, I can see Reforge be the first to buy a Steam Xbox and cry that it isn't an Xbox. Haven't tried Civ 7, says Shine, but Civ 6 was so much better mouse and keyboard than controller. Yeah, and Civ 6 did a decent job with the port on the controller, but I agree with you. Any of those menu-based games, a mouse and keyboard is superior. If you're fully optimized, let's take a game that does mouse and keyboard really well, or not mouse and keyboard, controller really well, Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate 3 does controller very, very well. In fact, developed with a controller in mind, I think. Because of the menu systems and like going through your items constantly, a keyboard is just nicer for stuff like that. It just is. Millsy says, good morning, or shall I say afternoon, from across the pond. What's up, Millsy? Thank you very much for being here. Jason says, I'm not spending more than $550 on the handheld. Very good. Yeah, I would say that's a solid goal. If it comes in under that, I think it's a success. Super Shocker, did we hear about battery life? Not yet. Does anybody know what the Nintendo Switch 2 battery life is? The Nintendo Switch battery life is 5 hours, and that's honestly enough. I'm not sure that you need much more than that. If you could get 6 to 8 hours, boom. I mean, that's big boy level. But I don't know that you need that. Reactor League says the largest tech leap in history will equal a return of the snap feature. So true. I miss the snap feature. I know why they don't do it, because it took up processing power. And how do you have to manage that a little bit. I use that all the time. Everybody did. You know what I used it mostly for? Snapping football games to the side while I played video games. Like, it was fantastic for that. Blicky Blank says, do you think modding support would be available for it as it's on a PC? Yes. I think that if it's a unified system where the base is Windows and you're able to load Steam games, I do think modding 100% would be available. 100%. Raichi says xCloud doesn't need UI. It needs bandwidth in the Series X version of the games. Yeah, I mean, Game Pass needs a UI, sort of. But, I mean, GeForce Now has a UI when you jump into it. So, but yeah, that's not the focus, of course. GeForce just added Flight Simulator. Soup. Dude, can you crank that bad boy up there too? Yeah, GeForce Now I'm addicted to. I think it's fantastic. Shine says, it'd be nice, but I don't know. Modding is very hard, even now with the Xbox app on Windows. This is in response to the question: is modding coming to? Yeah, the thing is, we're even getting more modding support on the Xbox as is. I think it opens it up more going forward if all your PC games can be played on your console as well. King Webb says 600 plus, I'll pay. Yes, I love that energy, man. Yes, absolutely. Starfield Guy says, been watching you for years on X1 Bros. Really cool to see you live. Keep up the great work, says Starfield Guy. Hey, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Everybody, thank you very much for being here. For those of you that are new, this is the daily Wake Up with X1 morning show. Appreciate it. We're going to just hang out every single morning, Monday through Friday, catch up on the news, talk, chat about what's happening, and just hang out and have fun, really. Just hang out and have fun. Let's go to the next story that I just wanted to touch on today. And that is this. This is an image put together by Clobril over on Twitter. Go follow him if you want to. Although the dude has blocked me. And I can't figure out. I'm like, why did he block me? He used to follow me. And then I realized, I think like around November, December, I made a comment about Europeans. I think he's German. And it's just a joke, dude. Just calm down. Which, by the way, can I say, let's go on a little European rant here. I'm in my life, I work with a lot of Europeans as a result, like a lot. And how is it that you can criticize the U.S. all you want and be snarky about it, but the minute I make a joke, I get blocked, like by Clobril? And I don't remember what I said. Something about Europeans being pussies. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But he put together this image. He puts together some really good images. And this is the last release of games here. First party titles. He excluded, I would have made a Game Pass one of this because remember, you got Expedition 33 in here as well. And you can see the Open Critic scores of games here. And they're pretty high. Doom gets an 86. Oblivion gets an 82. South of Midnight's at a 77. Avowed's at an 80. Do you put South of Midnight? See, the thing is, I think a lot of people think South of Midnight is better than Avowed. I just do. Indiana Jones got an 87, well-deserved. I think, which was a crying shame, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 got an 81, and I think that's the Starfield effect. I think Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 got an 81 because it's the first Hellblade that's exclusive to Xbox at the time. Still is exclusive to Xbox, actually, now that we mention it. You had reviewers who, if you went back and watched their first Hellblade review, gave it like a 90, and said specific things about Hellblade. They then took Hellblade 2 and said those same things, but used those same reasons as a knock and lowered it. And it was simply because it wasn't on PlayStation this time. They reviewed it on PlayStation the first time. I think Starfield got that bad rap as well. I think Starfield's not the greatest game ever played. It's not the best Bethesda game. But I think it got knocked a lot because it was the first Bethesda game that was exclusive to Xbox. Reviews are in this really interesting part right now where they're just untrustworthy. All of them. I think Steam does them the best because you can see a player's playtime. But even Steam, you have people with an agenda. So, for instance, Starfield is the perfect example for that. You have people who played Starfield for thousands of hours, literally 1,000 hours, and then they give the game a 1 star and it's like, this game sucks. Bro, the game, you've been playing it 1,000 hours. How can you give it? I think the way that you fix that is, just suggestion, Gabe Newell, if you're out there listening, just a suggestion. I think that there are minimums of the review scores. If you play a game for 60 hours, the minimum you can give it is a 6. Just saying. I don't think you can give that a 1. It held your attention for 60 hours. Are you playing games that you hate for 60 hours? I'm not playing a game that I hate for longer than an hour. You don't capture my attention, and I'm out. It's my problem with tutorial zones. I hate them. Like, you don't need to show me how to play the game again that has the same controls as every other game on the planet. If you're doing something unique, show me that, and then just wrap it into the story. You don't need to create separation for that. And I think it's a real problem. I think then if you play a game for 500 hours, the lowest score you could give it is an 8 or maybe a 7. No, an 8. An 8 sounds good. And then 1,000 plus, that's got to be a 9 or a 10, right? If a game holds your attention for 1,000 plus hours, that's a 9 or a 10. And I think that's the problem. And a lot of reviews are like that. So like when you look at South of Midnight versus Avowed, I'm not sure that score is correct. I would probably flip those. But who knows? I don't know what was a bigger blockbuster hit, like what sold more copies. Probably Avowed, I would imagine. There was a little more attention around it at the time. But yeah, reviews are a problem. Anyways, I think an interesting chart of this would be also show not just first-party titles, Xbox first-party titles, show Game Pass releases. Because if you put, for instance, Expedition 33 dropped on Game Pass, include day one Game Pass drops like an Expedition 33, and the average here jumps up exponentially. But this is a pretty solid lineup that we've gotten. Again, we've been spoiled the last year, I think. We have been spoiled. In my opinion, Jesse James says, in my opinion, South of Midnight got dinged because most gamers and media can't relate to the Deep South. They just weren't interested in the game. Jesse James? Yeah, maybe. I think that actually that's not what the weakest part was. I think for me, I was 3 hours in or 4 hours in. Maybe someone will fact check me and check my gameplay. I was on level 3, and I had the story hadn't yet taken off. Now I hear that the level I was on, the story really takes off. The problem is I jumped out after that story, after that level, before I hit this takeoff story. Maybe I'll go back and play it, and I wonder how many people did that. I think it took a little bit of time for it to really take off. I'm going to say it. I think that developers in 2025 and beyond, you need to hit me right away. I'll give you a prime example. Expedition 33 hits you right away. It hits you right away with a crazy cool story, and it just sucks you right in. I would even say Senua's Saga Hellblade. It hits you right away, that game. Indiana Jones hits you right away. Oblivion doesn't. I don't think Oblivion does. Oblivion is classic Bethesda, where it does take some time to get into. Doom, I've not yet played Doom the Dark Ages, but I would imagine it hits you right away. I think games have to hit you right away. I don't have hours and hours. The worst culprit recently that if you've heard me talk about this, you're like, oh no, he's going to bring it up again. Forza Horizon 4. Holy crap. PTSD mode from Forza Horizon 4, says Reactorly. Yes. And then Assassin's Creed. Was it Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where you take place in England, but you don't get to England for the first 5 hours of the game. Terrible. Interrupted Headlock says, I think review scores shouldn't be used anymore. Only spoiler-free descriptions with spoil-free gameplay. Everyone has different tastes. I mean, that's solid. I mean, we're always going to have reviews, though, because people want to listen. The key is to find someone you trust, an individual on YouTube that does reviews, and follow them. And if their tastes match yours, it's accurate, especially if they're honest and you feel like they're honest. I think that's the best way to do it. Tommy Music says, got my friend on Xbox and said the best choice he's ever made. No regrets. Tommy Music, doing the Lord's work. Tommy Music, welcome to the stream, my friend. Welcome. Jason said, reviewers are bad for gaming. Like you said, people have agendas. I agree. I feel like over the past couple years, especially, that has happened. The internet in general has become tribal cults. Agreed, 1,000%. Exponentially highlighted by social media, of course. Starfield Guy says, anyone looking forward to the Xbox dashboard and UI changes? I really want to make the dash icon smaller and remove them completely, as well as pin my games to the home screen. Yeah, I think we covered that in yesterday's live stream, and I think I'm going to get rid of. I'm going for that minimalist look, baby. The minimalist look. That's right. Jason says, South of Midnight is a fantastic game. It just got repetitive. You can see Compulsion has a lot of potential. Agreed. Compulsion always does really interesting styles, too. Rachel, people who said the combat of South of Midnight is boring are the same who call God of War 2018 combat amazing. Rachel. Oh, touche, my friend. That is funny. I think reviews will be all AI by next year, Super Shocker says. I think most of them are probably AI or heavily influenced by AI now. I think that, Super Shocker, you're 100% correct there. Reactor Leak. The best reviews would be Let's Play videos on YouTube, but then almost no one wants to do those anymore because they don't get eyes clicks. That's true. Remember the days when, I mean, some channels still do well with Let's Plays, but that's because they started out in an age where that's when you could get big. And they were first in, so they're still having a ton of success. But if you were to start a channel just doing Let's Plays today, you're 100% correct. Nothing would happen there. I actually liked the 2 or 3 hours I played of South of Midnight. It's unique and is doing something different from the usual. Agree, it's definitely unique. I like the style. I actually like the protagonist character. I think she's super cool. I think the like magical aspect of it, this like dark magic is it dark magic? I don't think that's the right word for it, but the magical aspect of it, super cool as well. Super cool. Wacko Games says most Xbox gamers aren't beating the games. Completion rates are very low. Yeah, but that's true across all games. If you look at all games, I think the industry standard is under 10%. Or it might be at 10%. It might be at 10%. It's very low. It's very low, which to me is an issue. Like, is it not? Imagine if you drop a Netflix series. And I would be curious what these numbers are. I'm sure AI could bring them up. But imagine if you drop a Netflix series and you only have 10% of people making it through your first season. That's a failure, right? Or 30%? I wonder what the completion rate is of season 1 of a series on Netflix, for instance. But yeah, I think it's a problem. How do you get those completion rates up? And why is it accepted that it's so low? I mean, multiplayer games, so for instance, the Call of Duty game makes sense because most people that play that game are probably playing multiplayer. They're not necessarily playing the campaign. They maybe jump in to dabble out, check it out for a little while. I think length has a lot to do with it. I think this idea that we need 30, 40, 50 hours in a game for it to be worth our time is not true. I think you give me Senua's Hellblade 2 was right around 10 hours. I think 10 to 15 hours is a sweet spot. I think 10 to 15 hours of entertainment at $50, $60, $70 even, depending on the level of that entertainment, is perfectly acceptable. And I think that length is a big issue for completion. But that's the world that we live in. That's the world that we live in. Blicky Blank says, no commentary Let's Plays with a good meal in front of you is the best. Agreed. Ray Cheese says, Hazel is worthy to be part of Young Justice from DC. Yeah. I mean, she's got cool magical powers. Wacko Games says, I don't know why people buy $70 games and never make it halfway. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I am guilty of that. Luckily, Game Pass now, really, if I'm buying a game, it's because I know I'm going to love it, and I am very hyped for it, Super Shocker says, I remember I was getting rare achievements in the last Call of Duty campaign because no one played the campaign. Yeah, that's exactly correct. In most games, by the time you hit like level 3 or 4 or story, 3 or 4 or act 3 or 4 in a game, all of a sudden those achievements become, and just like the normal campaign achievements, not like the achievements you have to stretch for, those make sense, but just the normal complete the story campaigns, they become rare really quick. Dark Knight says, good morning, Dark Knight. I think it's time for short linear games to make a comeback. I think they are, actually. I really do. I think, again, Hellblade would be an example of that. And I can't think of any other example, so maybe they're not. But I would agree with that. I would agree. Raby Henriksen says, hello, bro. X1 the Gamer. What's up? What's up, Raby? Rabby? Is it Robbie? Rabby? Thank you very much for being here. Dark Knight says, getting a lot of rare achievements in Indiana Jones and almost done with it. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck on the very last level of Indiana Jones because I have a glitch and I don't want to start over. And the glitch is that when I reload up the game, I fall through the world. And I'm waiting for a patch. I haven't loaded it up in like a month, so I should load it up and see if I can get past. But that's it. I'm on that last level, and I just can't get past it. Apparently, it is an issue. I've looked on Reddit, and other players had it. I pinged Bethesda and the devs, to see if we can get it fixed, but I haven't heard anything. So, but yeah, Indiana Jones is fantastic. Let's do our last story of the day today, and it's not really a story. It is more of a poll, and this is the poll. How do you feel? And this kind of counters, actually. This poll, I think, is proof positive that most players either don't care or are happy about it. Like this idea that it's the silent majority over the loud, annoying, attention-seeking social media-ites. They're terrible. They're the worst. You know what social media-ites are? The social media crowd, the crowd that's hardcore into social media, and they throw attention for everything, and they're completely disingenuous and change their opinions at the drop of a dime to chase views. They're like socialites, right? Like they're like socialites. What purpose do they serve except to cause all kinds of drama and problems for their own attention? That's all a hardcore social media user is. They're not actually gamers. They're the same as the Kardashians. That's it. Here's the poll though. How do you feel about Xbox games? This is on the community tab on YouTube. How do you feel about Xbox games being the top seller on PlayStation right now? So this was 12 days ago, and it was Minecraft, it was Forza, and it was Indiana Jones in the top 3 on the PlayStation Store for the month of April. So we're going to see if that holds over to the month of May. It'll be very interesting. But Xbox is winning the console war. So 36% was the vote. PlayStation winning. They just have great taste. 8%. 53% said it doesn't matter, and 3% said other. So 89% of players said it doesn't matter. Great games are great, or Xbox is winning. Very interesting. If you were to go on social media and you pay attention to the social media bros, you would actually think that's not the case. You would think that, oh, Xbox is in trouble, PlayStation's completely winning, blah, blah, blah. Granted, those who follow this channel are most likely Xbox users, so there's a little bit bias there. 756 votes, though, but this is just a show. I thought it was an interesting take, interesting poll, and interesting results, actually, especially if you were to compare it to, again, like I said, the social bros. What are the social bros saying over there? Shine says, to play devil's advocate, yep, you just said what I was going to say. Jesse James says, only around 52% of Xbox players have progressed past the first boss in Hellblade 2. Really? Really, really, really interesting. Even though that's a short game. It's interesting. I wonder if Game Pass probably takes away the risk of reward as well, so I wonder if the completion rate on Game Pass games is lower because players try out games. Interesting. Jesse James says console war is over. Even Sony says it's software services war now. That's right. They went to monthly active users, not consoles sold as their, and that makes sense. That's the name of the game in a subscription economy. That is the name of the game, and that's the economy that we're living in, and that's the economy that gaming is increasingly going towards. Everybody, that actually does us for today. A huge shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for being here and hanging out with me again. Monday through Friday, this is happening the morning. Wake up with X1 in the morning. Now, I do have a video dropping in about 40 minutes, so that's the regular time. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you like that video. Make sure you give it a watch. Share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Share this channel with your friends. For those of you that appreciate it, feel free, consider joining, becoming a member, getting that loyalty badge there if you enjoy what we're doing and you want to support us. And thank you. Thank you guys for being here. I was reading chat and got distracted. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Appreciate you all. Again, we do have a Discord. If you want to continue this discussion, we've got a great group of guys over in the Discord. Click the link below. Come join us. We'll see you next time.